Hey guys, I'm Tasha from Travelandtash. Most of you already know who I am. This is my first time going live, and actually I was trying to stream in landscape and technical issues, so I'm actually streaming in portrait mode. Anyway, this is going to be a learning experience for me. I've had a crazy week, and I just want to share with you some of the stuff that's been going on. It all began, I guess, on on Saturday evening. I got home from hanging out with my friends that I usually hang out with in Mangwon. I go to a Spanish language meetup, and I have an awesome time with friends there. But I got home and I received a phone call from my sister late at night, and she had some really bad news about a family member, and it was a very difficult evening as a result. My mum is quite sick, and so as a result, I hardly slept on Saturday night. And the funny thing is that I actually had a casual modeling shoot scheduled for the day after, and so that required usually enough sleep. And at the time I was thinking to myself, do I really want to go through this modeling shoot? I feel terrible right now, and I don't even know how I'm going to even smile for this modeling shoot. And anyway, nevertheless, I went through with it, and I went to this photo shoot, this modeling photo shoot. And the funny thing is that en route on the way there, I managed to make all the mistakes that you can make in terms of the route getting there. It was on line number 1, and the modeling shoot was in a place called Anyang Park, which is about an hour away from where I live. And what happened is that essentially I made a mistake, and on one part of my travel I went in the opposite direction of where I should have gone, and so it ended up that I was nearly 1 hour late meeting up with the rest of these photographers and models. And so I walked into a situation where there was literally about, let's say, probably 30 people at a cafe that were actually waiting for me at Anyang train station at a cafe. And I walked in and I was just like, oh my God, it was so incredible that all these people actually waited for me despite my terrible tardiness. And anyway, so doing the shoot itself, I got to work with some really cool photographers. Actually, Joel Hansen again, and I got to work with him for pretty much 2 to 3 hours, which was really cool. And I got to see the progress that he's made since a year ago when we last did a photo shoot together. And I'm slowly starting to see some of the photos come back that I took with some of the photographers. And overall I actually ended up having a really good day and managed to just really focus on what was going on at that event, and just enjoy being around those people at that time. And anyway, so I was so thrilled that my friend Danish actually invited me to this particular event that he was co-hosting. He was part of the arranging team to actually get these models and photographers together. And photography is something that I like to get involved with because it gives me an opportunity to share messages on Instagram, which I really like doing. And so if you've noticed on my Travelandtash Instagram page, I like to share a lot of messages, and I find that doing these photo shoots is a great way to actually do it. Anyway, so despite being absolutely tired, my eyes were almost red, and I was just like, oh my God, how am I going to even do this? And I managed to find the energy to do it, and then went to an amazing dinner afterwards. Anyway, so another thing that happened was, I think it was on Monday, I realized that my YouTube subscribers had actually gone up to 50 subscribers at that point, which was awesome because my intention had been to go up to 50 subscribers by the end of 2018. So I finally met that goal literally about a week after the year ended. And so I was just like, woo, you know, I finally met my goal. And anyway, so that was that was a high point for me at that time. I reached out to my mum and also my auntie, because after hearing that news, you know, I began to look into figuring out, you know, how can we, you know, help my mum holistically get better, because in terms of, you know, the treatments that the hospital wants to put her through, you know, me and my sister really are not into, let's say, Western medicine in that particular way. We're both very holistic oriented, and I, you know, straight away I went to my friend Dunia Maulet's. You know, I'm in contact with her. We met back when I was in India, and I was like, Dunia, you know, how can we get Mama feeling healthier? How can we, you know, help to tackle this, you know, this problem? And, you know, she was saying, you know, this is what, you know, these are some of the ways that she needs to start eating, you know, lots and lots of greens, this and that. And so, you know, after communicating with my auntie, I began to realize that my family live in Spain, and I'm currently living in Korea. And so I'm very, very far away from my mum to be able to really influence this situation. And as a result, I feel a little bit helpless in actually being able to adjust how to address this situation. And so anyway, my mum reached out to me, and she was like, you know what, Natasha, I'm a strong person. I'm going to get through this, you know. But still, you know, as a daughter, I can't help but be really, really worried about this situation. And my sister really wants me to manage it in such a way that we don't actually put Mama under any more pressure than she already is under. And so it's a very, very difficult balancing situation of balancing what it is that I want and how I want this situation to turn out versus how my family want to handle it. And it's a very, very difficult situation to manage, and it's also very emotional because this is my mum we're talking about, you know. Anyway, as you can see, it's a very emotional situation at the moment. And, you know, I'm going to do my best to, you know, this week I'm going to, you know, look into things like juicing and how perhaps we can get my mum's breakfast changed around so that she begins to start consuming a lot of really high nutrients that, you know, hopefully can affect this situation in a really positive way. Anyway, and you know, I'm so thankful that, you know, that back in August I published my keto brunches, which gave me a whole different perspective on health. And, you know, what is it actually that we're supposed to be eating? What are the nutrients that the human body actually needs, that the human body requires? And, you know, had I not had some challenges with my own health back at the beginning of 2018, you know, I would have no clue about these health issues and how to manage situations when more serious things happen. You know, when they happen to your really close family members, suddenly, you know, you become very, very acutely aware of just how fragile our bodies are. And sometimes, you know, these are affected not just by what you're physically doing, but also by what you're consuming in your body, particularly in terms of sugar, and sugar being one of the most lethal poisons that you can be taking into your body. Anyway, okay, just getting that off my chest. So on top of that, on Tuesday, I managed to get food poisoning. So this week has been nuts. I walked, so just before going to work at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I puked up my, I guess my breakfast or my lunch. I think it was my breakfast that I puked up, and I was like, oh my goodness, I need to go to work in literally an hour, and here I am puking, and I know I'm not sick. This is food poisoning. And I thought, but this is ridiculous because I've hardly done anything that could merit actually having food poisoning. And anyway, so I went to work and I spoke to my director, Andrew, and I said, Andrew, I did puke up very recently. So I just want to let you know that, I'm going to try and get through today, but I don't actually feel 100%. And he was like, you know what, if you need to go home later, just go home. Anyway, so what happened is that I was teaching at school, and then at one point I was beginning to feel, I think, just really, really dizzy kind of thing. And then, I went downstairs and I went to the manager's office and I was like, Pearl, I need to sit down, I need to rest. And then anyway, so as I was talking to her, literally, she was like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I went, oh, and I literally heaved. And I was just like, then my director, Andrew, came out of his room. And I rushed past him to go into the toilet. I was puking up again. And anyway, so I spoke to Pearl, and literally soon after that I was back at home and just resting for the rest of Tuesday. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I haven't actually had food poisoning since India, which was about nearly 2 years ago. When I was in Jaipur, I was basically out of action for a whole day. It was the day before I was heading to Agra to go and see the Taj Mahal. And literally I was there on the sofa going, oh, literally I could barely go to the local shop to get a tablet to help me with this food poisoning. And the funny thing is that, actually it wasn't, I don't recall it being diarrhea. Was it diarrhea? But anyway, my point is that I haven't had food poisoning. So anyway, what happened is that, for the day, I just had food poisoning on Tuesday. And then, what day is it today? Today's Thursday. Yesterday, I began a promotion for my book, my Keto Brunches book. And so I've been busy promoting my book and sharing it with social media and whatnot. I'll leave a link into the video down below so that you can find my promotion for Keto Brunches. And so I've been busy trying to get my Keto Brunches done. And meanwhile, I've also been enrolled in the Mindset Reset course by Mel Robbins. Mel Robbins is publishing this Mindset Reset course that she releases a video every day on YouTube. And so I've been following her and I've been doing all of these different suggestions. It's basically to get your mind feeling a lot more positive, adjusting your mindset so that you can begin to actually work your way toward goals that you previously thought you were incapable of doing. And so as a result, I've been trying to make notes and things like that in my diary, and things so some of the stuff that she's been teaching and that I've been going through this week as all of this drama has been unfolding is stuff learning to train your mind to notice when you're saying negative things about yourself. Like, for example, when you say things like, oh, I'm not good enough, or, oh, I'm so stupid, or, oh, I'm not good at this. And to actually be able to use alternate mantras to start changing how you say that. And so stuff so say, for example, for me, I have this negative opinion about myself that I'm not good at technology, that I'm not good with computers, that I'm not good at video editing and things like that. But here, Mel Robbins was saying, what if you say something like, if I put in the work, I can learn anything? How can you begin to use different words to retrain how you think, so that you're actually empowering yourself every day and not feeding yourself poison that makes you incapable of getting anywhere near the dreams that you know that you would love to accomplish before you die. And so I've been doing this course with Mel Robbins, and I've been learning different strategies like leaving your phone very far away from your bed before you go to sleep. And also waking up the minute that your alarm goes off, because if you actually drift back into another sleep cycle, you end up going into something called sleep inertia, which makes you groggy for the next 3 or 4 hours. And the only way to snap out of it is to have 10 seconds of really cold water in the shower. And so I'm starting to learn all of these different techniques to actually have a better, more fulfilling mornings so that I'm more primed to actually achieve all of the things that I would like to get done during that day. And so today, for the first time, I actually journaled in a very different way that she taught, and that was saying, first of all, evaluating how you feel. So, you know, I wrote down, for example, I feel good because I slept well and I really just enjoyed the visualization process. She talks about something else called visualization. Anyway, so my bottom line is that I'm doing this course with Mel Robbins, and I've been doing it maybe for the last 10 days, and it's been super, super helpful this week, you know, just to have her saying just these little bite-sized things of this is what you can do, you know, this is how to just slowly improve, just little bit by little bit. Anyway, so I'm so grateful for the mindset reset, you know, retraining of my habits. Okay, this is the first time I'm going live, so for me this is actually a really really crazy big deal. I think that in a way it's kind of a little bit nerve-wracking going live, because if you make a mistake or say something ridiculous, you know, if you allow your ego to get involved, you can end up allowing yourself to feel regret, and that's not something I want to do. But anyway, this in itself is an interesting topic. But yeah, challenging myself by going live for the first time. I want to mention that this weekend I've got some really awesome plans. So despite this entire crazy week that I've had with the food poisoning, with news about Mama and this and that, and then there's this crazy model shoot that I did despite feeling overwhelmed at that particular time, that this weekend I'm really, really excited because I've actually got an event coming up, a meeting with Wesley Martin, and we're going to actually hang out with his friend to essentially watch his band practice, and we're going to take a few photos together. And I intend to bring you guys along for the ride. I'm going to take some video footage while I'm there and show you what I get up to. And also there's a possibility that I might be hanging out with my photographer friend, Danish MM, and we're going to potentially do a photo shoot before then. And if that is the case, and if those plans go through, then hopefully I can show you guys what we get up to when we're actually doing a photo shoot. We want to actually hang out perhaps in Shinsa. So assuming that goes forward, I'd like to bring along a camera and show you guys what we get up to in those events. Anyway, so thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate your support, and I look forward to publishing the next video on Tuesday, next Tuesday coming. Tuesday and Thursdays are the days that I try to publish on my YouTube channel, Travelandtash. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you for listening to this entire rant, and have a great rest of the weekend. Bye.